Hello and a very warm welcome to Rajya Sabha television. You're watching the Breakfast News with me, Frank Pereira. Here are this morning's headlines. Greece misses IMF debt payment deadline, becomes first advanced economy in arrears. Over 110 people feared killed in one of the deadliest air crashes in Indonesia. A military transport plane goes down in a residential area in Medan. Delhi government clears the value-added tax amendment bill. Bill cleared amidst uproar in assembly by the BJP. First big upset in Wimbledon. Women third seed Simona Halep crashes out in the first round. Djokovic, Federer and Nadal sail through. And Cuba is declared the first country in the world free of mother-to-child HIV transmission. Well, after days of wrangling and assurances by Greece, it has failed to reach a deal with its international creditors on the extension of the bailout program. Despite last-minute overtures to its creditors, Greece has defaulted on its debt. As the clock ticks, Eurogroup said that Greece must soften its stance on the negotiating table. Here's more.
Despite last-ditch efforts by Greece to secure an extension of its bailout funds, the international creditors offered no concessions. Greece missed the deadline for its 1.6 billion euros debt repayment to the IMF, making it the first advanced country failing to repay a loan to the IMF. Greece is now formally in arrears and can only receive any emergency loans once it clears all its dues.
We're not populists, we're trying to do the right thing by the people.
Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras sent a letter to the Eurogroup assuring it is committed to servicing its debt and requested for a 2-year funding and restricting of its debt. But the Eurogroup was firm on its decision, angered by Athens refusing to accept any European proposals. Eurozone ministers said that Greece must change its stance towards the lenders before the new 29.1 billion euros aid program is considered.
What can change is the political stance of the Greek government that has led to this unfortunate situation. And what we could consider, but we will have another conference call tomorrow, is further talks on a new program. But given the current political position that the Greek government is taking, it's very difficult to have constructive talks.
Political figures in Greece too urged the government to get back to the negotiating table.
Εμείς καλούμε και στην Ευρώπη και στην Ελλάδα να επανέλθουν όλοι στο τραπέζι των διαπραγματεύσεων και να βρούμε μία λύση που θα διασφαλίζει και την αξιοπρέπεια της χώρας και την οικονομική της ανάπτυξη, αλλά και τον σεβασμό των κανόνων λειτουργίας της Ευρωπαϊκής Ένωσης. Η χώρα πρέπει να παραμείνει στον πυρήνα του ευρώ.
I think that there's good groundwork done both from the European side but also from the government. The government seems to begin to realize the negative developments that will take place if this situation continues.
While many Greeks believe the creditors' demand of tax hikes and pension cuts would harm the country, others fear the current developments could set in chain an even more damaging departure from Eurogroup. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, over 110 people have been killed in what is being termed as the deadliest accident yet for the Air Force in Indonesia. A C-130B Hercules military transport aircraft crashed into a residential area in Medan while it was returning to its airbase due to technical difficulties. The plane plunged into 2 houses and a hotel. There are fears that no one on board has survived. Here's a detailed report.
At least 116 people are feared dead after a military transport plane crashed in a residential area of the Indonesian city of Medan. There were 113 people on board the plane, 12 crew and 101 passengers.
Pesawat itu waktu sekitar pukul 12, dia itu mesin pesawat itu dah keadaan mati. Lalu dia menghantam tower yang ada di Sepang Semelingkar, lalu oleng dia menghantam perumahan yang di samping OKBS. Yang jadi korban bangunan perumahan itu sama OKBS. Kurang lebih itu ada 3 lantai lah ya, 3 lantai bangunan itu yang dihantam. Jadi ada sekitar 2 unit begitu, yang 3 lantai dan satu lagi ada 1 lantai.
The Indonesian Air Force head said the pilot had asked to return to base because of technical difficulties.
Captain pilot ya, penerbangnya itu minta return to base, minta kembali ke pangkalan. Berarti setiap pilot kalau minta kembali ke pangkalan pasti ada yang trouble, pasti ada yang rusak, ya kan? Nah, pada saat dia kembali itulah terjadi musibah ini. Saat ini yang saya tahu laporannya adalah 101 penumpang, ya, krunya 12.
The Hercules plane had been on its way from an Air Force base in Medan to Tanjung Pinang in Raya Islands off Sumatra. Many of the passengers are thought to have been relatives of servicemen and women.
5 orang keluarga saya, Pak.
Berapa orang dewasa?
Adik saya suami istri,
Iya.
anak gadisnya 1, keponakan kami 2.
The plane burst into flames and the entire spot of the crash has been reduced to ashes. Possibility of finding any survivors is bleak. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the latest round of nuclear talks between Iran and world powers over Iran's long-disputed nuclear program will be extended to July 7th. Under the interim deal agreed in Geneva in November 2013, Iran has suspended some disputed nuclear activities in exchange for limited relief from international sanctions and thereby bought time to reach a comprehensive deal to end the long-term standoff. It seems there are still some tough issues to resolve, like the clarification and monitoring of Iran's nuclear program and the timing and phase of sanctions relief. There is limited time to resolve all the issues, as July 9th is the deadline by which the signed deal must be passed in the US Congress. Iran's nuclear program has long been a subject of concern for international powers who suspect that it's geared toward developing nuclear weapons. Iran insists on its right to develop a civilian nuclear program. Meanwhile, it's being termed as a big step towards achieving an HIV-free world. Cuba has been declared the first country to be free of mother-to-child transmission of the virus. Here's the story.
The World Health Organization declared Cuba the first country in the world to eliminate the transmission of HIV and syphilis from mother to child.
Para UNICEF es el acercamiento a un mundo que sea totalmente libre de VIH. Este es nuestro sueño y gracias a los esfuerzos que el país está haciendo para demostrar que sí se puede.
The WHO said in a statement that an international delegation that it and the Pan America Health Organization sent to Cuba in March determined the country met the criteria for the designation. In 2013, only 2 children in Cuba were born with HIV and 5 with syphilis.
Los medios diagnósticos tienen un sistema de salud que permite que todas las madres sean identificadas, sean diagnosticadas y en caso de diagnóstico acceso universal a antirretrovirales. Por lo tanto, eso lo hemos demostrado con el hecho que hemos...
Cuba's communist government considers its free healthcare a major achievement of the 1959 revolution, although ordinary Cubans complain of a decline in standards since the fall of the Soviet Union, the country's former benefactor, in 1991. The WHO credited Cuba with offering women easy access to prenatal care, HIV and syphilis testing, and treatment for mothers who test positive. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, here's a look now at what else is making news across the globe in our Globe Watch. US and Cuba will be announcing the reopening of embassies in each other's capitals today. This comes as a major step in restoring the diplomatic relations between the two countries that were served more than 5 years ago. President Obama is expected to address the issue from Vienna. A similar announcement is likely to be made by the Cuban government. The flag-raising ceremony to reopen the American embassy will take place on the 20th of July in Havana. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon warned the situation in Syria is on the brink of falling apart, putting the already unstable region at further risk. Syrian mediator Staffan de Mistura will be briefing Ban Ki-moon next week on his talks with Syria's warring parties and the world powers on finding a solution to the 4-year conflict. As per UN records, some 220,000 people have been killed in the conflict and 12.2 million require help. The drive to combat Islamic State was discussed by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov with his US counterpart John Kerry in Vienna. Lavrov said that the two specific ideas on how to manage the situation and how to consolidate the efforts of all to fight the growing strength of the militant group. At least 3 people were killed in a car bomb in the Egyptian capital, Cairo. And there were a number of others wounded. Black plumes of smoke were seen rising to the sky. And there was another blast which led to a fire. The attack fell on the second anniversary of the protests that preceded the overthrowing of Islamist President Mohamed Morsi in July. Relentless rain and storms have caused major floods in Ohio and Michigan. Flood warnings have been issued throughout the U.S. Midwest. The flood waters have reached buildings and homes and forced a bridge to close. The river Raisin and Maumee were rising faster than anticipated. And it's time for a short break now, but still to come. Home Minister Rajnath Singh will begin a 2-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir to review security as the Amarnath Yatra begins. That and much more on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
New government in New Delhi. New faces.
People are not investing because they are scared of your tax administration.
New thinking.
The auction process is a fair and good process.
You cannot have a one-size-fits-all reform policy.
For insights and perspective.
Judiciary should be more concerned about corruption within itself.
The Modi government slogan of "Achhe din aane wale hain." Soon the people's slogan will be "Hamare purane din lauta do."
The biggest show on economic policy. Watch State of the Economy.
Watch the world come alive in your living room. Defining moments. Momentous events. News Tonight, your window to the world. Every night at 9 p.m.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, the Delhi Assembly passed the VAT bill despite staunch opposition from the 3 members of the BJP. Now, Kejriwal can alter VAT on products without calling an assembly session. The government targets to shore up more revenue through VAT in the current fiscal. Here's more.
The Delhi Assembly passed the Value-Added Tax or VAT Amendment Bill amid uproar from the opposition Bharatiya Janata Party. The bill will make enabling provisions of levy of VAT of goods and services on certain goods like liquor, tobacco, aerated drinks and entertainment, among others, at flexible rate instead of a flat slab of 20%. The amendment was passed even as the Assembly witnessed uproar as BJP legislator Vijender Gupta tore off amendment papers and staged a walkout from the session with his colleagues.
विधेयक पे चर्चा के प्रस्ताव से पहले ही वो लोग बिल फाड़ के भाग गए। चर्चा हुई है उसके बाद मैंने वक्तव्य दिया है, सोमनाथ जी बोले हैं और भी अध्यक्ष महोदय ने पूछा कि और भी कोई सदस्य रखना चाहे, तो चर्चा का जब प्रस्ताव आया तो उन्होंने चर्चा के प्रस्ताव का विरोध किया।
The Delhi government had already proposed a 30% hike in VAT on petrol, diesel and other products on Monday. The government is already levying a VAT between 12 to 20% on these products. After the passage of this bill, the Delhi government can alter VAT without calling an assembly session. The opposition is opposing this bill tooth and nail.
हमको बोलने का मौका नहीं दिया गया। जब हमने कहा कि रुकिए तो वोटिंग कराने लगे, तो इसलिए मजबूरी में, क्योंकि जनविरोधी फैसला था और ये धोखा था दिल्ली की जनता के साथ, और आप दिल्ली में पेट्रोल प्रोडक्ट्स के, सॉफ्ट ड्रिंक के और बाकी तमाम चीज़ों की आप कीमत बढ़ा रहे हैं, तो ये तो दिल्ली में महंगाई थोप रहे हैं आप। दिल्ली को आपने 1 दर्जन नए करों से और करों में वृद्धि से आपने जोड़ दिया।
This is first of all going to be inflationary in nature, a burden on the common man in Delhi, and secondly, it will not benefit also to Delhi government because there will be not much increase in tax collection. And thirdly, people coming to Delhi, it will be a burden on them. They will have to get their petrol and diesel filled before entering into Delhi to get cheaper petrol and diesel. So I don't think this is a wise move. It shows their inexperience. It shows their lack of maturity as far as the governance is concerned, and it is going to hit the common man badly.
In the last financial year, the Delhi government mopped up 17,000 crore rupees through VAT. This year, the government target is to achieve the 24,000 crore rupee mark. Anu Divan's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Here's a look now at what else is making news across the country in our segment Nationwide. Delhi government has formed a special investigating team to probe the 1984 anti-Sikh riots. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal made the announcement on Tuesday, accusing the centre of not being serious in pursuing the 1984 anti-Sikh riots cases. He also said that government would provide legal aid to victims besides rehabilitating them. In a major concession to registered but unrecognized political parties, the Election Commission has allowed their candidates to use common symbol for contesting Lok Sabha and Assembly elections. However, the poll body has laid down certain preconditions to grant the concessions. For Assembly polls, the party will have to field candidates at least in 5% of the Assembly constituencies and a minimum of 3 constituencies in states having 40 or less seats. Also, the party will have to give the names of 10 symbols from the list of free symbols notified by the Commission. CBSE has announced the joint entrance examination ranks for Paper 1 and Paper 2, ending the anxiety of lakhs of students. The delay in the announcement has led to the postponement of admission to IITs and NITs. The joint seat allocation process was to start on June 25th as per the original schedule, but due to the delay, online registration and choices of seats would continue up to July 3rd. The first round of seat allocation would be declared on July 5th. Petrol and diesel prices were reduced marginally on Tuesday. Petrol price was cut by 0.31 rupees a litre, while that of diesel was cut by 0.71 rupees per litre on the back of declining international oil prices. The price changes came into effect from midnight on June 30th. This is the first reduction in petrol price after 3 successive increases. Some more national news now. Rajnath Singh will be on a 2-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir to review the security situation there. The Home Minister is reviewing overall security situation, particularly with regard to the annual Amarnath pilgrimage. Rajnath Singh will take part in a security review meeting in Srinagar along with Chief Minister Mufti Mohammad Saeed, Deputy Chief Minister Nirmal Singh, top civil, police, paramilitary and army officers. On Thursday, Singh and Jammu and Kashmir Governor N.N. Vora, who is also chairman of the Sri Amarnath Shrine Board, will participate in the puja on the first day of the 59-day-long annual yatra to the Holy Cave Shrine in South Kashmir. Here's a look now at what else is expected through the day in our segment, The Day Ahead. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs may consider a proposal to extend by 1 year the ban on hoarding of onions beyond a prescribed limit as they meet today in the national capital. Setting up a national agricultural market through an online platform, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana and some MOUs with Kazakhstan are some of the other agendas likely to be discussed. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will launch the Digital India Week in the national capital today with a view to empower the people of the country through the Digital India program. Prime Minister will unveil various schemes worth over 1 lakh crore rupees like Digital Locker, e-education, e-health, e-sign and National Scholarship Portal. 600 districts across 29 states and 7 union territories of the country will also organize various events to sensitize people about the ongoing activities under the Digital India platform. The Bombay High Court will hear Salman Khan's appeal against conviction in the hit-and-run case. On June 15th, the court had ordered expeditious completion of the case papers. Salman Khan has been awarded a 5-year jail sentence in the hit-and-run case. Former Telecom Minister Dayanidhi Maran will appear before the CBI in Delhi today in connection with the illegal telephone exchange case. Maran will be questioned in a case of allegedly using over 300 high data capacity BSNL telecom lines at his boathouse residence in Chennai. In a significant legal reprieve though, Maran obtained anticipatory bail from the Madras High Court yesterday before eventually surrendering before a CBI court. The DMK leader apprehended arrest and had moved the High Court seeking anticipatory bail. Meanwhile, national carrier Air India had to delay the departure of its New York flight from Mumbai by nearly an hour after it was reported that the Principal Secretary to Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis had not carried his passport with valid US visa. The incident took place on Tuesday when Fadnavis was leaving on a week-long visit to the US along with his Industries Minister Subhash Desai, Chief Secretary Swadhin Kshatriya and Principal Secretary Praveen Pardeshi, besides other delegation members. Pardeshi was cleared at the check-in but was held back before boarding as the passport he was carrying did not have the valid US visa. Pardeshi had got a valid US visa in his old passport, but this was not reflected in the new one which he was carrying. The issue had triggered an outrage over people being inconvenienced during movement of VVIPs, and opposition parties had attacked Fadnavis on the issue.
वीआईपी कल्चर को ख़त्म करने की बात बीजेपी करती है और दूसरी तरफ आपने देखा कि वो कल्चर ख़त्म करने के बजाय उसको बरकरार रखकर अपनी सुविधा के लिए आम आदमी को कितनी तकलीफ में पहुंचा है 1.5 घंटे को फ्लाइट डिले करके। एक तरफ आम आदमी को 3 घंटे पहले जाना पड़ता है एयरपोर्ट पे इमिग्रेशन कस्टम्स क्लियरेंस के लिए, लगेज के सब करने के लिए, और इनके लिए 1.5 घंटे फ्लाइट डिले हो जाती है। तो मैं समझता हूँ इसकी पूरी तहकीकात होनी चाहिए और जो लोग इसके लिए जिम्मेदार हैं उनके ऊपर कानूनी कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए, ऐसा मुझे लगता है।
Well, it's time for a short break now, but still to come, the first big upset in the women's section at Wimbledon. Third seed Simona Halep crashes out. That and other sports news coming up. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Get live Rajya Sabha session. News, views, reports and analysis you can trust on social media. Subscribe, follow, like Rajya Sabha Television.
Back, you're watching Rajya Sabha Television. Well, Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal and Andy Murray swept into Wimbledon's second round on Tuesday, but the women's third seed Simona Halep and 2014 runner-up Eugenie Bouchard slumped to defeat at a sweltering All-England club. Here's a report.
Second-seeded Roger Federer, bidding to become the first man to win 8 Wimbledon titles and take his majors tally to 18, enjoyed a 67 minutes 6-1, 6-3, 6-3 win over Damir Zumar of Bosnia.
That's a big shot from the biggest gun of all, arguably. Match point, Roger Federer, round 1.
The world number 88 he beat at the French Open this year. Federer will face Sam Querrey of the United States for a place in the last 32. Two-time world champion Rafael Nadal, defeated in the second, first and fourth rounds in the last 3 years, enjoyed a 6-4, 6-2, 6-4 win over Thomas Bellucci, his 5th win in 5 meetings against the 42nd ranked Brazilian. Nadal will face Germany's Dustin Brown for a place in the last 32. If the draw goes to plan, Nadal will have to get past Andy Murray and Roger Federer to earn a shot at a third title, potentially against top seed Novak Djokovic in the final.
You know, I'm a little bit more confident now that that was a few months ago, but just day by day for me, you know, and obviously victories helps, and last 2 months, let's say, I am playing much more solid almost every tournament.
Andy Murray, the 2013 champion, enjoyed a comfortable 6-4, 7-6, 6-4 victory over Kazakhstan's Mikhail Kukushkin, the world number 59, and next faces Dutchman Robin Haas. The 28-year-old Scot has been in sublime form over the last few months, winning his first ever clay court titles in Madrid and Munich, then following a run to the French Open semi-finals by claiming a record-equalling fourth crown at Queen's Club.
Murray through to the second round.
Yeah, I mean, he played some really good stuff at times and was, he was going for his shots when he was on the run. He was taking the ball up the line, going very hard and flat, and found it difficult to play aggressive tennis out there. And I was glad to get through in straight sets.
In the women's singles, defending champion Petra Kvitova, the second seed, took just 35 minutes to reach the second round, cruising to a 6-1, 6-0 win over Kiki Bertens, the world number 108 from Netherlands. Kvitova, also the 2011 champion, dropped just 1 point to serve and next meets Kurumi Nara of Japan for a place in the last 32. Her win was the fastest in 5 years on the women's tour.
5 minutes it took her.
The nightmare year continues for Eugenie Bouchard. A finalist at Wimbledon a year ago and the breakout tennis star in 2014, the Canadian, seeded number 12 here, lost to Duan Yingying, the world number 119 in the first round, 7-6, 6-4 on number 3 court. The defeat was Bouchard's 12th in her last 14 matches and will see her drop out of the world top 20.
7-6, 6-4. A huge learning process to have great results and then have so much attention and then have bad results, and just learning about the ups and downs of life and tennis and how things won't always go perfectly like I expect them to.
Minutes later, Simona Halep, a semi-finalist in 2014, became the tournament's biggest casualty so far when she lost 5-7, 6-4, 6-3 to Jana Shaplova of Slovakia. The 22-year-old Shaplova, ranked 106 in the world, had won only one match on the tour all year before Tuesday, but had big match experience by beating Serena Williams in Charleston last year. Temperatures on Tuesday rocketed to around 30 degrees Celsius, but Wednesday is expected to see a Wimbledon record high of around 35 degrees. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Some more sports news now. After being soundly thrashed by Australia in its last match, India will look to sort out its defensive woes when it takes on Malaysia in the quarterfinals of the Hockey World League semi-finals in Antwerp later today. India, as a result, finished second in Group A and are hence scheduled to meet Malaysia, who finished third in Group B in the round of last 8 in Belgium. The Indian defenders, who let in 6 goals against world champions Australia in their last group match, will again be tested by the nippy Malaysians. Going into the quarter-final encounter against Asian champions India, and the Malaysians will draw confidence from their 3-2 victory in the last fixture between the two teams in the Sultan Azlan Shah Cup 2 months ago. While India is looking to make this a fruitful sojourn for the young players being fielded, Malaysia is expected to throw everything into today's contest to secure its qualification for the Olympic Games. That's it on this edition of the Breakfast News. Have a nice day.